stage.
I have two tiny titanium knees, and they don't do that anymore, if they ever did. So I am thrilled to be here. All you're seeing here is Facebook because my husband's taking the web design class at State Fair, and when he's done, there will be a Facebook page. I don't mean Facebook, I mean website, but not yet. A little bit about me. I am Anita Barrick, grew up in Sedalia, a proud product of the local school system, and went to college in Liberty, worked in Kansas City for about 10 years. First in music. I was a music major actually in my first life. And then moved from that into banking, which was sort of weird. But banking got me into accounting, which is where I belonged, as it turned out. So from that, the next thing you do is you go to school to get a CPA. And I had relatives in Austin, Texas who said, come live with us and go to school. And it's like, well, that's a great deal, no matter what the school is. University of Texas is the second highest ranked accounting program in the country. So my guardian angel was on my shoulder, and I moved to Texas, got the degree, 5 years with Deloitte & Touche and a big company in San Antonio, and then back to Austin where I really found my niche, which was small business accounting. And I did that for probably 20 years, and everything from churches to fitness to architects to greeting cards to stereo stores, literally everything. All during this time, though, I discovered that if I was sitting talking to someone, I need to do something with my hands. And doodling doesn't work for me. But what does work is crocheting. And it's great because you can talk if someone wants to talk. Now, not if you're counting, but if you're just stitching. Or if no one wants to talk, you can just think. And since I rode the bus to one of my jobs in Austin, and I knew if I read on the bus, I would miss my stop, because I did that several times, I would just carry a little crochet project in my fanny pack and crochet on the bus. So one day, I'm doing this, I'm crocheting, and thinking, what do I want to do when I don't want to do accounting? And I literally had a vision. And that's like one in my life. But the vision was to move out of Austin, own a small shop somewhere where I could crochet, embroider, and sew all day, talk to people, and I knew I didn't want traditional retail with purchased inventory, so I looked at the consignment model, and I especially didn't want to have to commute. I remember driving in Missouri winters. I'm not going to do that anymore. So what I needed to make this happen was building, good retail location, small town, at least 2 stories. Well, I knew about a small town, having grown up here. And since I'd married pretty well, I wasn't too worried about the funding. But the biggest plus is that my brother and his wife, Diane, thank you, Diane Simon, lived up here already and had the complementary skill set necessary to make all this happen. So the 4 of us formed an LLC. It's called Bad Investments, LLC. Now that's our initials, Bill, Anita, Dick, and Diane. That is not our investment policy, okay? And in about February of 2012, we bought Story Central, which is a 3-story historic building right across from the courthouse on Ohio Avenue. The rehab began in earnest in 2017. My husband, our 3 cats, and I got moved up here just about a year ago. And the second floor, since there is a second floor, is offices. And as of last month, again, thanks to Diane, it's fully rented. So the first floor was the workroom for the entire project. So that was the last part to finish out. I finally got possession mid-April, and sort of mid-May said, well, I got to open this. We'll see what happens. And I put the sign out. And there we are. So there have been several challenges, and that's sort of what I want to share today. The first one was just hours. When did I want to be open? The traditional model for a business like mine would be 10 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday. Well, I had some issues with that. 7 hours straight of anything is a hard slog, particularly as you're getting retired and you don't want to do that anymore. I also had gotten really spoiled in COVID of a nice lunch hour, a big salad, time to put my feet up, read a book, and I did not want to give that up. So what I came up with, and it seems to work really well, is I'm open from 10 to 1, and then I have 2 hours off, and then I open again at 3, and I stay open until 6. So I'm open during the traditional lunch hour. I'm open after other stores downtown close, which is very helpful. And I get my good lunch, and I get to read my library book. There may be a day when that turns into a nap instead of a book, but I'm not there yet. And then 10 to 1 on Saturday normally, although starting this week it's going to be extended hours on Saturday. The big challenge, and this is ongoing, and I expect it's shared by most of you, is marketing. First to the crafters who bring in the goods to sell, and then secondly, obviously, to customers. Now, the day we put the coming soon signs up in the store, a reporter from the Democrat walked in and said, "You want to do a story?" And I said, "Sure, can I keep painting?" And he said, "Go right ahead." So the next day, there's the story of the paper, and on the front page, there's me and my paintbrush and my loopy grin talking about the consignment model and what it would take to work. And, I thought that would do it, to bring crafters in. I was wrong. It took a while. It took some word of mouth, some posters around, but I'm glad to say now I've got over 30 consigners. And new merchandise comes in literally every week. Almost, I can't keep up with it, which is a nice problem. The customers obviously are another issue. It's driven much by downtown traffic. Thank you, Jolie. And I've sort of struggled with how much to put in advertising. Now, I've done enough business study to know that when times are tough, you really shouldn't cut your marketing budget. That's really where you need to put your money. It seems counterintuitive, but that's the way it is. But so many people tell me they don't read the paper anymore. And while I had one crafter mention the radio, I don't care for the sound of my own voice particularly. Can't tell it today. But what's worked best so far is the Showcase Sedalia magazine. And Steve thought he might be here, but he wasn't able to. But that has been the best thing. And I've also just received a new sidewalk sign to have out just to tell people that we're open. And I've also purchased one of those little neon signs for the window. I didn't want to do that, but it, I think, has made a difference. So customers are starting to come in. If there's something downtown, I can guarantee that people will come in and say, "I didn't know this was here." And it's like, well, we haven't been very long. So look around and then come back and do your Christmas shopping. Another issue with the consignment model is how do you price your goods? Now, there is a standard in the craft industry that you take your materials cost and times 3, and that's what somebody is going to pay for this. The question with consignment is that enough then for the crafter after the shop's percentage to do the work? And some people say, yeah, whatever, I just want my work out there. I've kept doing this all during the pandemic. I need room, clear it out. Other people have a fixed idea, like I literally have one crafter who says, well, my time is worth $15 an hour. And that's how I price my goods. And so then she adds my 40% on top of that, so she gets that. And they're pretty expensive items. And I'll tell you, she's sold one. I don't restrict how much people bring in, how long it stays, etc. So at some point, I think I'm probably going to have to do some education about the benefit of sales, about turning over inventory just to get your cash flow going. And those are challenges that a lot of businesses face, but I haven't gone there yet. My final issue has been technology, and I meant to bring a receipt book, but I forgot. How many of you work in industries that have industry-specific software? Okay, particularly and how many on POS systems, point of sale systems? Well, they make it for the consignment industry, but I don't use it. I did practice on it down in Austin when I did some volunteer work at a consignment shop. But literally, I'm using receipt books, and some of them even have carbon paper still. Now, some of you may not know what carbon paper is, and that's okay. You probably don't need to. But I have these books, and I'm going to use them up. And I did, however, get more up to date with credit cards. I knew I had to take credit cards. And I don't care how much it is. I don't, I say that fee is part of doing business. I did check out Square through my bank to start with. And not only was the fee prohibitive, but there was a monthly fee whether you had a charge or not. And it's like, I don't want to go there. So I ended up with something called SumUp, which is the English version of Square, basically. But the reader works. I had trouble getting set up, but when I called, I got to talk to a person, and they got everything working, and it's done really well. And I'm perfectly happy to pay that to cover the cost. And the final thing was my QuickBooks. I couldn't find my discs that I moved from Texas, so I thought, well, I'll buy new ones. And I wanted the standalone product, and Intuit doesn't sell it anymore, so I found it somewhere else and thought, this is great. And then I discovered what I'd purchased was a pirated license for the 2021 desktop product. So Intuit now has me as a customer. It is subscription, but I do have desktop as opposed to online. I've done a fair amount of QuickBooks over the last 2 decades, and I have my preferences, and this is working. I have to pay it every year, but that's the way that the market's going. So that's really what I wanted to share. Are there any questions? Yeah.
This is kind of a hot lights question, and I'm not trying to, but I'm not trying to put you under a microscope. But you said in your presentation that you had a great career, you did financially well, your husband did well, so you moved here, and I'm guessing that you don't necessarily have financial concerns that you have to have this business.
Absolutely.
But what would you say you would do different if this was a hand-to-mouth type situation and it needed to be?
I needed to make a living here?
Right.
I'm not sure you can.
Oh, I believe you can.
Yeah.
I believe you can.
You
actually.
do? Okay.
I think you're missing social media.
Well,
It's huge. You need it. You must have it. You need to get on it every day. You have to show what you're working on and crafting. You have to be out there. And if you're not, your business will die. Because if you don't start online and then grow and get bigger, everything's online now. Everybody wants to know, why do I need to leave my house to go get it?
go get it. Well,
And so if your crafters aren't on social media and daily saying, hey, this is new in the shop. Hey, this is where you can get it. We'd love to ship it to you, and this is how. It's not going to get far enough. Because there are a lot of surrounding towns that could come here. Stover, Colcamp, Warsaw, Marshall, Warrensburg. All of those are tiny towns that want more. And so if they can't see it on social media, they probably won't
come. That's a very good point. I do have well, it was. Anyway.
There's a new company called Woogles, and Woogles is crocheting kits. And so that's kind of gotten out there. It was recently on Shark Tank. And so you might want to take a look at their models and what they have, and take a look at their social media so that it might be able to give you some ideas.
Okay. A lot of my crafters are, and Diane?
Yeah, and what I was gonna say is, social media is very important,
It's
and
huge.
I started her that way. It's a matter of timing and having the time to do it and get in her store, take pictures, and so she's just
Yeah.
now starting to try and do that. Yes, it's going
Oh,
to make
yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah.
Huge
It just
difference.
takes so much time to.
It does.
Find and take and, yeah.
And actually, I resisted doing this because I didn't have the video and social media skills to do the presentations that I've seen. And that's like, but the thing, this is handcrafted, and I'd rather be crocheting. So, like I say, right.
Yeah, right.
This is my retirement gig, and I am paying rent, but not the rent that the business would probably like to get from that space. But I'm also a quarter owner of the building, so that's the way it is. So, but thank you very much. Yeah.
So I'm the marketing instructor here at State Fair. These are my marketing students.
Ah.
Yes.
Full of digital marketing students
Uh-huh.
as well. So I'd like to offer up, if you don't know about it yet, but Kelly Asbury and I work at, she's the director of the SBDC.
Mhm.
And I'd love for you to be part of my digital marketing class where you can work one-on-one with one of my students to help you in all things digital marketing.
Cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Please connect with Kelly Asbury at the
Okay.
SBDC office here
Okay.
on campus.
But she does need help with that. I mean, just knowing-
Yeah, I
The
do.
only thing that you need to do is get your website up and have 2 social media pages.
Uh-huh.
And we will teach you, your student will be your consultant
Uh-huh.
and teach you everything digital marketing.
Cool.
And if you're ever interested in a marketing internship to help you with your social
Mhm.
media, that might be something that that I'd love to do with you as well. A lot of businesses
Uh-huh.
that want to do that. And the funny thing is and I looked at all my students when you said it, and I preach it, so, when things get hard, don't stop marketing.
Right.
It will get even harder, right?
Right.
And I definitely agree, if you're not on social media, if you're not online, if you don't have that presence, you won't make it.
So, okay. Yes.
And then another thing to consider is, I'm not the least bit interested in social media at all. It's my age. But I hired a social media manager,
Mm-hmm.
and she's fabulous.
Yes.
And so
Well, I
she-
have one, and she's fabulous, but she's busy.
Busy.
in
But yeah.
terms of, I don't have the time. to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to
Yeah.
that,
Uh-huh.
Nor do I have the skill, nor do I have any interest in learning how to do it.
Precisely.
And most
Because
businesses don't.
I'm
Yeah.
much more confident at what I really do than
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
so, and this person is fabulous.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you.
Sorry, I will go ahead and end with, what can we do as a community? I know, we kind of talked about the social media presence. Once you get that for sure up and going, I know that we would have some people that would join the following on social media. Is there anything else we can do as a community to help you be successful?
Come downtown, and not just to my shop. Just come downtown, and that would be the best thing.
Let's give her a hand, guys.
Okay. Thank you.